Okay, we have your first question right here.
The first question is for Proposition 1, and I need an education here. That $4 billion, how would that be used? Is it used to purchase land, to build new structures, to
Wonderful
work with
question.
existing structures, and how is it being administered?
Well, you know, it is a lot of things, and I can give that to you. 150 million is going to go for transit-oriented development funds, 300 million for regional planning, which I think is very important because, you know, it's not just a San Francisco or an Oakland or a Sacramento problem. There are regional problems there. They are going to have a certain amount of money for stable housing for seniors. There is an awful lot of the money. The first thing that it is going to is making sure that there is affordable housing for homeless veterans. So they have specific portions of where it goes, very well thought out. It was it started as a bill. And it was a bill from one of my favorite people who, Bell, Senator Bell. And then it was put into the budget, and then they put it in for a proposition so that it would be, what's it called?
It's a bond measure.
It's a bond measure, and that's how it's done.
So it's $4 billion in bond money that the state would borrow to build. And there are lots of conditions or opportunities. So it's veterans housing, it's senior housing, it's affordable housing. It has to be affordable housing. But it also, there's a portion of the money that can be used for housing rehab. So for seniors who are in their homes, for example, but don't have money to make your bathroom accessible or to build a ramp or to repair a roof because you're living on a fixed income and you want to stay at home because you paid for the house but you can't pay for the maintenance and the rehab. There's actually some money that can be used towards that. But it's not, $4 billion sounds, I mean, to me it sounds like, I mean, it might as well be $1 trillion. I mean, it's got a lot of zeros. But in the scheme of things, it's just it's a small part of what we need to really address the housing crisis. So it's going to need that money along with local dollars, and ultimately, if we can ever get a HUD person who cares about housing, even though that's supposed to be their job, to advocate for more federal dollars, which we haven't had in years, to go into housing, we can start really talking about a very ambitious construction effort because it takes a lot of money to build housing. And I think I just want to add one more thing. Part of the reason why there's 3 of these measures on housing that we talked about is that the solution to our housing crisis is more than just building. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time to build housing. So we need to do that, and that's why this Prop 1 and Prop 2 are really important. But we also need to protect people who are in housing. Because if they become homeless, then there's just more units that we have to figure out how to build, which costs a lot of money. So we need to figure out how to keep people in their housing through things like renter protections and homeowner protections for people who are struggling to stay in their own homes and pay for maintenance, etc., while we build more housing. So it all kind of goes together. It's not one thing that's going to solve the housing crisis, but together we may be able to begin to address this.
And $150 million for transit-oriented development so that it's just not park and go, but live and then get on the bus and go.
All right, I see some questions. Oh,
Yeah, we have one right. I'm moving around.
Yes,
I'll
all
get
right.
there.
So in addition to, because it sounds like a wonderful idea, is there work being done in, for instance, Nevada or Oregon or Arizona? I can imagine homeless people flooding California when such wonderful things come about. So there's a whole immigration question here, or a whole, well, who gets, what kind of social aspects are put into place here.
So as I said earlier, I've been working on homelessness issues for a long, long time. About 85% of the homeless people in the county of Marin are from Marin.
That's right.
This issue comes up time and again when we're talking about homelessness, but basically, people are coming up. It is veterans, people from the community. But the worst thing, the trend we saw most, is a growing number of seniors who are being costed out of their home, whether it's rentals or whether it's home ownership that they just cannot afford anymore. And so I would say to you, one of the interesting things about doing the homelessness work that I do is we learned from the state of Utah. Utah had a better homelessness program than we do. And so, you know, and Utah has not seen the influx. Now, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to predict what's going to happen. We have to address this on a national basis, but this is a first step. We don't see the trends that you're asking about. So, does anybody else want to answer?
No.
All right, another question?
I'm speaking on Prop 10. I helped work on that, getting things from that ballot measure, both ballot measures, the local one and the Roseville Costa-Hawkins. Sacramento City Council had a meeting last